Hi there everyone, Lara Riggio here, your energy coach. And today I want to make sure that you are not engaging in a very destructive energy pattern that a lot of my clients have actually fallen back into doing lately because we're all under so much stress and pressure. I have to ask you, are you beating yourself up when you don't even know it? A lot of times when we're feeling stressed or pressured, or if things aren't going the way that we want them to go, they're not meeting our expectations, if you're an overachieving person like myself and a lot of my clients, we often will beat ourselves up and criticize ourselves and wonder, what could we have done better? How could we have overcome this situation in a more effective way? The thing about it, yes, that can be helpful if you're asking yourself that one question, getting the answer, and then changing your action to be proactive and to support yourself. But if you're asking yourself those kinds of questions over and over and over again throughout a day, it actually is a form of self-emotional abuse. And it can not only affect your mood, it can cause fatigue, depression over time, and it can even keep you up at night. For example, somebody in one of my classes recently emailed me and said, hey, I'm having trouble sleeping between 1 and 3 a.m. Well, each meridian in your in the Chinese meridian system has a specific period in time which it's most active, and 1 to 3 a.m. is liver time, okay? The liver meridian is most active during that time. Guess what emotion is associated with the liver meridian? So the reactive emotion or theme of liver is criticism, and the positive emotion or theme is nurturing and being kind and gentle with self. So it's interesting, when I shared that with her and gave her an exercise to help her calm an overreactive liver meridian with this specific mantra I'm going to share with you in a minute, she realized, oh my goodness, haven't been sleeping at this time of the night, and I was feeling tired throughout my day, and I thought, well, maybe it's just because I haven't been sleeping. But after you shared that mantra with me, I realized that the other thing I was doing to myself is I was getting very frustrated. I was frustrated because I just didn't have the energy that I wanted to. I was frustrated with myself because why couldn't I just overcome this? She's been doing a lot of work to heal her hormones with an integrative doctor, and she had chronic fatigue a few years ago that she's basically come out of and healed from. But now when she was feeling this level of fatigue again, she started beating herself and going, will I never get better? How am I ever going to overcome this? And I want to just put this in perspective for you guys, because I really don't think if this was a friend of yours coming to you with these questions that you would respond with those kinds of negative comments. Just as an example here, suppose a friend comes to you and says, oh man, I've been waking up in the middle of the night and I'm feeling more tired and it's really bumming me out. Would you say back to them, well, you really should be frustrated about this because you've been doing all this work on yourself and, it's not working. Like, you've been spending all this time with this, integrative person, and isn't it helping your hormones yet? Why is it taking so long? Is your chronic fatigue coming back? You would never say that to a friend in a million years. Instead, you would find some nurturing, comforting words and say, well, maybe this is just because you're up in the middle of the night and you've had a lot of progress to date. Your energy's been better over time. You just told me last week about how much better you were feeling about your hormone balance. So maybe this too shall pass. That's what you would probably say to a good friend, not the opposite. But I really want you to turn the dial up now on yourself and see if you are indeed having nurturing conversations with yourself, or if you're actually beating yourself up. Another client 2 weeks ago was very, very frustrated because in our quarantine situation, she couldn't go to her normal exercise classes that had been working for her. And she too has had some health issues, and she's worked back up to incorporating exercise back into her life, and she's been feeling really good. All of a sudden, quarantine hits and she can't do her usual routine. So she was online looking around for different exercise classes, and she took one and really didn't feel great afterwards. Tried another, didn't feel great afterwards. And so what did she start doing? Instead of looking at what necessarily she was doing in the exercise classes to see if it was different, to see if it was a new level of fitness that maybe she needed some more time to work up to, she started beating herself up. And in our session, asking the question, I just don't understand why I can't work out at the same level I used to. I don't understand why, my body's gotten so weak that I can't do this again. Let's just say if you were your own mom, okay, and you were telling your child was actually telling you about this frustration. Oh, I can't believe I can't do this exercise program. After I did it, I really felt tired and I actually hurt a muscle doing it. And I used to do those kinds of things all the time. I just don't know what the problem is. Would you say to that child, yeah, I know, that's just so terrible. Your fitness level has just gone down the tubes. You used to be so incredible and be able to do any kind of fitness program, and now look at you. I mean, would you say that to your child? I don't think so. So I really want you to turn the dial up, guys, and see, what are you actually saying to yourself internally when something doesn't work out as planned? Are you being kind and nurturing? Are you treating yourself the way you would treat a friend you loved? Or are you treating yourself the way that you would treat your own child? And see if you can turn up your love and your kindness for yourself and nurture yourself instead of criticizing yourself. One of the ways you may know that you're doing this is if you are waking up between 1 and 3 a.m., or maybe you're feeling really more exhausted around that time of the day in the afternoon between 1 and 3 p.m. Meridians can affect one another across the time wheel. So AM can affect PM and vice versa. So if you're finding you're doing this and you're having trouble shaking the pattern, we hold our issues in our tissues in our meridian system. So the meridians follow a very direct line, and the muscles that they cross often have a tendency to hold emotions, the reactive emotion that's associated with the meridian, in those tissues. So we can tap the meridian and we can say a different mantra to help to reinforce a new belief system and mindset so that if and when something happens that doesn't align with what we desire, we'll be less likely to beat ourselves up and more likely to nurture ourselves through this, because we are changing and retraining the way that we are reacting, the way our issues are being programmed in our tissues, so that hopefully we can reprogram a better, more nurturing response versus a critical one, okay? So the points associated with the liver meridian are on your rib cage. So if you find your nipples and you go on your rib cage, you're gonna tap these, okay? But I wanna do it with a large intestine point. Large intestine point is right here. Large intestine is about letting go. And again, liver points are about being critical or nurturing. So you're gonna tap these 2 points together, and I want you to think to yourself as you do this, I am willing to release criticism and nurture myself instead. I am willing to release self-criticism and nurture myself instead. I am willing to release criticism and nurture myself instead. And let's go ahead and switch sides. I am willing to release criticism and nurture myself instead. I am willing to release criticism and nurture myself instead.